So today we have another episode in a very popular, I think, series on the channel, and that's the way too early trade updates, rumors, news type, whatever the hell you want to call it, videos that I do over the channel and have been doing for over a year now. Again, I think we're on part 3 so far this year, and there's a ton more AFL trade news to, of course, talk about. So I knew I just had to, you know, stop watching SpongeBob SquarePants and Two and a Half Men and come over here and make this video for you guys right now. So again, there's a lot of new things that have happened. Of course, one of the big ones that I wanted to talk about does actually happen to be the Chad Warner re-signing with Sydney Swans situation that just happened. I think has kind of surprised a lot of people. Of course, this is a big deal because a lot of people out there genuinely thought he was going to be going to the West Coast Eagles on like a massive 7-8 year type deal. And as we know, that has not happened. He's re-signed with Sydney, which I don't think should be too much of a surprise. I mean, if we look at where the Swans are at right now at the time of making this video, it's not really that great at all. But if we look at where the Eagles are at the time of making this video, it is not great at all. Their rebuild doesn't seem to be kind of going to what I think a lot of people originally thought it was probably going to be going to. And you also look at right now, the Swans are having a bad period and are so far having a bad season, but you do expect them to have somewhat of like a bounce back, especially with them settling into Dean Cox as the new coach. I mean, after all, freaking John Longmire has been the coach for so long that it's going to change things up. So you're going from a Long to a Cox, and if you combine them together, it creates a very, very awesome word. So I'm just sure that this is going to be the right direction for Sydney, and I think Chad Warner is as well. Again, it's only a 2-year deal, but I mean, you were just, I think, happy with him re-signing at the end of the day. Again, the Jamar, what the fuck was that? What? I just had a cardiac arrest trying to freaking say Jamara. The Jamar Yugal Hagen situation is very, very weird, with basically the coach admitting on like live TV that Jamara coming back to the Dogs is going to be a hard thing for him to see. And say what you want about Luke Beveridge as a coach, but I just absolutely love how transparent he has been with this whole entire situation with Jamara. And you can tell that he, I don't think, minds really talking about the fact that it looks like Jamara is definitely going to be leaving at this point. It's just what club he's going to go to. Again, Jamara has taken a leave of absence. The decision was mutually reached by Jamara, his family, his management, and the club. Again, another report which is massive, because I don't even know how to even think about this, but it was being said that Victorian clubs are unlikely to chase Jamara, and this is all being reported by Tom Morris. Now, what is really interesting about this is that I thought there were a couple of teams who would have been perfect to go after Jamara. Again, teams like the Geelong Football Club, who have been such a successful team and have had players like Tyson Stengel who have not really had the best past and didn't have the footy career he probably thought he was going to at that point. You have Geelong, who have these great mentors, great leaders, great coaches come in and save this guy's career. I just thought that that was going to be something that they could maybe do with Jamara. Again, after all, Jeremy Cameron's not getting any younger. I think he's like 33 or something like that. He's definitely not that old. I'm absolutely tripping balls. Jeremy Cameron is 32 years old, and I mean, it doesn't matter how old he is because he's moved up the ground so much to the point where sometimes he plays as like an extra midfielder. You've got Shannon Neal down there. I thought Jamara could have been another good addition. Again, St Kilda have had Ross Lyon, a great veteran experienced coach who have a lot of people have said could handle Jamara, and considering they're signing reportedly to Koning, I think Lee Kalia, I think he's one of the guys that they're looking at. Of course, James Warple. I really thought that they were going to look at potentially going for Jamar Yugal Hagen, and that doesn't seem to be the case as well. So there's a lot of really interesting things that I just I don't know who's going to go for him. I feel like Sydney are really in the market for a key forward, so they could be the team that looks to try and get him as well. I mean, GWS have just continued to have massive success. I don't think they'll go for him. I think they're good for key forwards, and I mean, Riccardi's only just gotten back in the team. Brisbane, I think, are probably the one that makes the most amount of sense. I mean, they're still looking for a replacement for, of course, Joe Daniher. Is Jamar the fit? Probably not the fit-wise, but he's obviously a good young key forward who would make sense for them to go after. Again, there's definitely teams out there, and if no Victorian clubs are going for him, it'd be legit crazy if, even a team like Port Adelaide, came in and swooped in and got him. I think that would be really interesting to see. Again, there was a massive report a little bit ago that I feel like we just have to talk about because it's highly interesting, let's be honest here, but there was a massive report that Collingwood are going to have another massive crack at free agency. Again, I have spoken about this a tiny bit on the channel, but it hasn't been enough where I feel like I have dedicated enough time to this situation. But it is being reported on Gettable by Callum Toomey that Collingwood are going to go hard for a lot of players. And again, a couple of them are mentioned to be Matt Rowell, Zach Butters, Christian Petrarca, Oscar Allen, Ben King, and Harley Reid. So I thought personally it would be a little bit of fun to go through these players and talk about who I think they could get. Again, I think the most unlikely player here is Harley Reid. I think the options of Harley Reid going to either Geelong, Hawthorn, and to a lesser extent at the moment, Richmond and Essendon should be all greater options for Harley Reid due to a bunch of different things especially money. I mean, let's talk about money real quick. How are Collingwood even going to be able to come near a contract that Harley Reid will be looking for? Can't see that one happening. The next one that I don't think is too likely, and these two are kind of in the similar boat, is Zach Butters and Matt Rowell. Again, I think they're going to look at the other Victorian clubs that have the cap space and know that they could maybe get traded there, and that team has picks and whatnot. I think Matt Rowell and Zach Butters are going to be asking for much more than Collingwood can, of course, match. But you look at the other ones, Oscar Allen and Ben King, those guys are interesting. Now, look, I think Ben King is 100% going to re-sign with Gold Coast. In fact, I would be so surprised if Ben King eventually did leave Gold Coast. Why would he leave Gold Coast? He's got such a great thing going on there, and they look like they're going to be very good very shortly. So I don't understand that at all. And then Oscar Allen, reports say he's almost a lock to go to Brisbane, which is really weird because I thought Hawthorn were in the box seat for so long, and they just look like they're not. So I guess you can also kind of take off Oscar Allen there. In my opinion, Petrarca is the one that makes the most amount of sense on that list because, as we know, I think his trade value has greatly dropped with the injury. Also, Melbourne are going to need to acquire a first-round pick or two for this kind of rebuild on the run. I think they're going to try and do. Again, Christian Petrarca, I don't think wants to be there, even though he's had a slight change of heart. I think he'll still find his way out the door. And you also look at the fact is that I think he's only got a year or two left on his contract, and it's on big money. Don't get me wrong, it's on about 1.4 to 1.5. But I genuinely believe Petrarca will take a pay cut 100% to get to Collingwood if he does request a trade there. Because from reports and rumours, his whole massive thing right now is he wants to build his career online and in the media, of course, with his, massive cooking accounts that he's got all over social media. So what people are saying is Melbourne, they have a quarter of the fan base of Collingwood. And let's be honest, that's not even true. I mean, they've got probably half the members of what Collingwood does, but the social media interactions and just you go outside and you ask people, are you a Collingwood fan or a Melbourne fan? They'll probably beat Melbourne 10-1, right? There are millions of Collingwood fans who don't even follow their social media accounts and all of that are out there. Trust me. I mean, we all know this. It's not a secret. It's much more than Melbourne. And I think if Petrarca were to request a trade and he got traded to Collingwood, from him being traded there to playing his first game and everyone finding out, all those Collingwood fans who are not true footy diehards finding out how much of a superstar he really is, yeah, the dude's follower count on all social media is going to go up by like 50k. So it's much interesting. He's also would play consistently in front of 80k to 100,000 every single week instead of the 20,000 that Melbourne get every like 4 weeks. So yeah, I just think the pull for Petrarca here, he will be like, look, if I'm on 1.5 to 1.4 right now, if you trade me to Collingwood, I'll sign a 4-year deal with Collingwood, taking him till he's like 35, which I know that is long and no teams would ever do that, but this is Collingwood and they have a tendency to extend players' careers for a long time for some reason. You give me a 4-year deal on 900 to 1.1 million and we can make that happen. Again, I think Petrarca would genuinely look at that. He would 100% take a pay cut of like 200 to 400,000 just to get a Collingwood, because the amount that it would actually help him would be way greater than the 200 and 400,000. He would make that back like that from his sponsors realizing, holy crap, this guy's got an extra 250,000 followers on all the social medias. Like, yeah, I think that's the one that actually makes the most amount of sense, and I think it could legitimately get done. So, a lot of AFL trade news going on right now. Again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this all in the comment section down below. Who do you guys think could go to Collingwood? Who's going to sign Jamar? And Chad Warner re-signing? Is that a surprise or not? Again, I'd very much like to know your thoughts and opinions. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.